My name's Rob Cunningham, and for my summer grant proposal, I made instructional videos for our R2 program at Roosevelt. The R2 program is a self-paced program where students are working through different curriculums at their own pace, independent instruction. So what I did with the grant money is I made instructional videos that the students can watch on their Chromebooks. Instead of having direct teacher instruction, they can watch the video, learn the content, play it back, and try to gain the information they would normally receive in a traditional classroom. It's great because what I found out is that the kids will utilize that kind of material and will sit and can get the direct instruction they need. I think one girl says, she was quoted in saying, you know, this is so much easier if you just watch the videos. So she was able to learn the material without waiting for a teacher to come help her with a problem. They would sit through the video with a note guide that went along with it, and they could follow along and do the example problems and have a set of notes going into their homework assignments and their quizzes. They were able to complete quizzes at a faster rate than what they normally would because they had an extra resource other than just a textbook to learn the material. So I'm hoping that Roosevelt will continue making these videos for the R2 kids. It sounds like there are other teachers ready to jump on and help the creation of these videos to really help our kids excel through the program and earn the credit they need for graduation.
I'm Stephanie Hague. I am a third grade teacher at John Harris Elementary, and the project that I wanted to work on and explore was Genius Hour, which I became familiar with by following some different blogs, and I knew of some schools that had implemented a Genius Hour into the daily routine of classrooms in a middle school and a high school level. And what I was interested in exploring was how that would be applicable in an elementary setting. Throughout this process, I learned a lot about what I can do with students to make it a very inquiry-based experience. There's 4 major steps to this process. First, they develop a question. And the big thing with the question is it shouldn't be something that they can just Google and find out the answer to. They actually have to research and look at various different avenues to find their answers. So they could interview people, they could read books, they could get on and the internet and explore some different ideas. And then once they have developed their question, then all the research takes place. They do all of the research and then they put it together and they create a presentation, and that too is driven by student choice. So they get to decide how they're going to present that. Hopefully this process is one that I can share with a few of my teammates and we can work through that together. I feel like this inquiry-based experience is something that resonates with me as an educator because I know that kids are always passionate when the choice is theirs and they can research and they're exploring topics that they are most interested in.
My name is Casey Elder and I teach 4th grade at the Elementary Immersion Center. My summer research project focused on Words Their Way, which is the elementary virtually spelling or word work curriculum. I teach ELL students, and so I tried to use the Words Their Way curriculum in my classroom last year and found that there was kind of some things missing that I needed to help my students succeed. I found that Words Their Way had made an ELL edition, so my summer research worked on me combining the regular Words Their Way with the ELL Words Their Way. And then I was able to use a great iPad tool that I have in my classroom and put in all my new word lists into this iPad tool. And students next year will be able to use these words and the pictures and hopefully increase their English language abilities. The great thing about this tool is that I was able to find a real picture on Google or on the internet. So if we were studying L and M sounds, I could find a picture of a lion, and then the students will have to find a piece on this iPad tool that is the L, and they'll have to match up the letter with the sound in the words that I put onto this tool for them. I'm hopeful that this will be used not only in my classroom, but in all the immersion classrooms as we all start using Words Their Way on a regular basis.
I'm Becky Jo Peterson. I teach 3rd grade at Annie Sullivan.
And I'm Laurie Soule. I also teach 3rd grade at Annie Sullivan. And our summer research project was working on integrating some of the standards across the curriculum so that we can enhance how the students learn and make it more focused for them and for ourselves as teachers. And it will create a common learning ground for teachers and students as well as common assessments.
We went through and we found places where it was a natural link between the reading, the writing, and the science or the social studies, and where it would naturally flow for the kids so they can make links in their learning. And also so that we could use assessments and more, put those together and use them in more than one curriculum area at a time.
We think that we will save time because we'll be able to go more in depth with what we've learned. The students will be able to connect their learning across all core subjects and to each other, and it'll provide a lot of different ways for them to learn through projects, independent learning, books, internet, all those kinds of things.
It'll also allow students a chance to work with what's their learning style. There will be a lot of different projects involved, so their learning style will be addressed at some time and they can all learn the best.
And because of the different types of learning and different mediums that we plan on using, we think that we can reach each student at their level and bring the content to them in a way that makes the most sense to them.
And by having our assessments already, the rubrics written for the assessments, we'll be doing backwards planning so we know exactly what it is we want our students to be able to do as we're doing our planning.
My name is Lacey Ove. I'm a reading specialist at Annie Sullivan Elementary, and the purpose of my research was to explore the current reality of our English language learners in reading. Some things I wanted to find out included, are they reaching grade level benchmarks? How many of them qualify for reading intervention? What factors influence their success? I also wanted to learn strategies we can use to support ELL students as they develop as readers, because learning to read while learning English at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8 is an immense task that most adults probably cannot even imagine. I chose to research this because in my job as a reading specialist, the most consistent challenge I face is trying to help ELL students reach grade level when their language level just isn't there yet. I examined data from my school, Annie Sullivan, and data from all reading specialists in elementary schools in the district. From the data I examined, I learned that this year at Annie Sullivan, 46% of first graders who qualified for LIA were also ELL, and 60% of our second and third graders were ELL. This is the case even though ELL students make up only a little over a third of all students in these grades. Another surprising thing I found is that although ELL students were further behind in their average reading level, their rate of growth in second grade was even higher than their English dominant peers, and in the other grades it was very close. From reading research articles and professional books, I learned several strategies to help support ELL students in reading. Two that I focused on were using tiered questions, or matching the question to the language level of the student, and activating or building background knowledge.
I'm Roberta Bennett. I'm the Success Coordinator at Washington High School.
And I'm Sandy Hoff, and I'm a special ed teacher at Washington High School.
And Sandy and I, a couple years ago, worked together to try to target a different group of students in our building that were struggling. And what we did at that time was identify about 25 students that we felt would benefit from a smaller program within our school day. The student population that we're working with is often at a disadvantage because they're not aware of what the resources that are out in our community or what is available to them. They may not have a parent or a grandparent or family member or anyone that is willing to teach them things or show them things that are offered in the community. And so what we wanted to do was be able to bring all that information to them and hopefully get them excited about what opportunities might lie for them once they're out of high school.
So then what we did at the end of the school year is we gathered information from the students from the current group that we were working with, as well as students who had been a part of Pride for all 2 years, and decided that these were the areas that we wanted to increase improvement with. And one of those areas is parent involvement. We want to be able to put together a newsletter that we're able to send out quarterly to the families and to the students, just kind of letting them know what we're doing in the Pride program, and also invite them to come in for conferences, or if the conference times doesn't work, to come in and meet with us as a family individually. One of the things that we have noticed with the group that we work with is they are not very health conscious, and they bring in energy drinks, chips, and we want to be able to bring in a dietitian, talk about healthy eating, as well as if you start your day out with a good breakfast, how that really does help the day. A lawyer will be coming in to talk about how the law changes from when the student is 16 to 17 to 18. Independent living, to talk about what do they need to do to get an apartment, set up cable, that kind of stuff. We will have a banker and financial advisor to talk about what kind of money do you need for post-secondary, as well as the importance of saving, and even how much money do you need to get a loan to get a car.
I think the one thing that the kids will say after participating in the program and being part of the program is that they know that we care a lot about them. Sandy and I bring very different things to the table, and I think that they all know that they show up each day, that we're going to be there to greet them, and happy to see them each day. So I think based on all of that, hoping that they take what they've learned from us and from each other, that might have a ripple effect to their siblings, their parents even, and how important it is to have positive interactions with peers and with staff and with our principals, because our principals have gotten to see that group of students in a very different light, I think, and that for me has been one of the greatest things when the principal will come to us and say, wow, we're really proud of those Pride kids, because that means that we're doing something good too. So overall, I think that we've come up with some really great options that we're going to incorporate to a curriculum that is working well for us. And I'm looking forward to having other community members come into our building, not only to see what we're doing in the Pride program, but also just to see what it's like to be in a high school. And so I think 15-16 is going to be good. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to get these things built into our curriculum.